What is going on, you guys? Back with another new exercise video for your total gym or sliding bench trainer. Trying to get better at doing these at least once a month, and basically what I want to try and do is kind of highlight some of the new exercises I feature in previous videos that maybe you might not have caught. I try and pick the best ones that I think I'm more likely going to use most often, and then also try and feature at least one or two brand new exercises that I think I've never shown before. Now in this video I'll be utilizing some extra equipment. If you guys do want to check it out and or support the channel, I will link it down below in the description box. But as always, feel free to try this at your own risk, and I can't guarantee all these things are going to fit you and your abilities and or the machine that you might have. And just as a reminder, if you ever do want to find a collection of videos where I kind of highlight brand new exercises or new exercises in general that I feature, I try and put them down in a playlist that's just labeled new exercises on my YouTube channel. Other than that, let's jump right into it, but please consider liking and or subscribing, and always feel free to let me know any other content or stuff you guys want to see in the near future. All right, so this first exercise is going to feature the weight bar attachment and these body elastic resistance bands. And I did feature a couple videos. There'll be a couple exercises that I kind of rehashed in this one because they were so good. But after playing around with these, and again, I'll link these down below, I came up with another new exercise that I think will be helpful for a lot of people, because a lot of people were searching for some sort of a chest press that you could do anchored on your back. And so as you guys can see here, this really allows you to do a nice solid chest press with a bar, but you could use handles as well, doing a chest press from the total gym. Yes, there was ways to do it on the XLS model with the upper weight bar attachment. There's ways to kind of rig pulleys and things, but I've tried a bunch of them. I won't get into a whole lot of detail. I didn't think they were that good. I just didn't like them for a number of reasons. But then this worked out really, really well, especially using this. This comes with my body elastic set that's anywhere anchor. And I'm also really happy I got the external bands too, because I've actually been fine tuning and adding more or less bands in this exercise. But there's a number of ways you can anchor it. You definitely, I'd recommend getting some sort of an anywhere anchor. If you got the body elastic set, it kind of comes with it. But someone's told me before, I'm being kind of mindful of the fact that if you just put these bands on the gym themselves, there's potential that they could kind of basically prematurely wear the bands. So using one of these anchors can be helpful. Now really briefly, there's definitely more than one way to do this. I like to always keep things very simple the way I kind of set up and choose exercises. If they start to get really complicated and complex, I tend to just not even use it. This body elastic anywhere anchor was pretty nice. It was a big kind of a long strap. Has a lot of purposes, but I just kind of looped it through both sides. This allows you to kind of get more of a tighter tension, more tighter low point of contact. Also the angle, I kind of like that, is nice and low. At first I actually used this anchor, and you can see it already got kind of frayed. I first just kind of wrapped it around here, but that wasn't really a good secure spot. Even when the incline was up, that little bolt was kind of wearing away on this, even after a couple uses. But the other thing I did was simply just kind of wrap this around this way, and this was like the second approach I did, just kind of anchoring up there. That worked out perfectly fine. Even at an incline, it was good. Just the other way I showed you allows for another lower point of contact, but this would probably be the easiest and fastest way to loop one of these attachments for that kind of setup. But if you guys don't have one of these, I will actually link another one down below if you guys want to link it, attach it to your machine. The beauty of this is you actually can, by manipulating the tower height, it makes it easy to put the bands on and off. Just lower the tower height, attach the bands, raise the tower height to bring the tension back up. There's other unique ways to kind of get into the machine that I could maybe show you in the video, but it starts to get a little cumbersome once the weight starts to get kind of heavy. But regardless of whatever kind of sliding bench training you have, I think this will be able to work out for you. Now this next one is just going to continue on with the exact same setup we had, except I did add some tricep dip bars to kind of brace myself. If you guys haven't seen the previous video, you kind of see what I mean in a second, but this is going to help kind of brace my body so I don't fly upwards. Although you certainly don't need these. You can actually go lighter and kind of get more of a rocking motion out of this. But basically a back extension exercise using the same setup we have here with the anchor point down below. And I put a little bit extra tension on here just to kind of show how hard it really is. I've tried to actually even crank this up, and it gets really, really hard. But this is a nice solution to people looking for another kind of low back or back strengthening exercise. Kind of similar to like a hinge kind of deadlift pattern, but you're not really getting a chance to kind of work your legs as much. And I guess secondarily, I still have my ankle attachments, which are on from a next exercise we'll do later on here, but that actually is also helpful if you got some sweatpants or a padded ankle attachment, because I noticed it was actually helping me kind of brace my leg position. Now, regardless of where, obviously the anchor point's not going to move, but just letting you know, play with the incline if you guys do potentially want to try this out or attempt to try this out, because that does kind of make a difference on the angle. It actually gets hard enough where I actually had to go to an alternated grip. I'll just go for a pronated grip now, but I'll just kind of do a few reps here for you. And I'm just gonna loop around the tricep dip bars. Granted, again, this is a much heavier setting. You don't have to go this heavy, but this is what it looks like. Again, being super careful, the integrity of the bands, this thing doesn't flop back and fly you in the face. So again, try this at your own risk. So that's about what it looks like. I'm going back to about a 2 o'clock position, I guess, whatever way you're looking at it. And that's good enough. I can go further back, but if I did that for, I only did like 3 or 4 reps there, but if I did that for 10 plus reps, for sure I'm gonna feel that in my lower back, hips, and like I said, if you got these ankle attachments, this gave me a nice little boost where this thing wasn't kind of digging into my knee or digging into my shin, but this is also why I got this kind of bracing point so I don't kind of fly forward. I originally didn't try this when I had that anchor point, and it just makes it more of a kind of like a fluid kind of a rock, which might be what people are kind of looking for. Now I had to show this one. Those of you guys might have already seen this from a previous video when I kind of highlighted the body elastic bands. I had to show this in again because this is kind of like a highlight reel of the last 30 days of my favorite exercises I've kind of discovered and started messing with. This I actually like more so than pressing off my back, even though that still feels really good. The only difference I kind of changed it up from the original video is I still am using these, I'm using these anchor points instead of putting it just wrapping around the tower. So again, another reason to kind of get some sort of a good anchor point that's made for the tube style bands. Again, I got the tricep dip bars in here. I've been kind of setting it up pretty much like this. And once I kind of roll this off, I set up my feet, and here, you know, I feel pretty locked and loaded. I can't really talk when I'm doing it, but I actually really like the way that feels versus the back. I think both are pretty good, but really like that tension. Totally up to you of how much you want to put on, more or less. But I also really like too, you can feel that brace in your core and abdominals, just kind of get bracing in that position as well, which I also like. All right, and this one's actually pretty simple. I don't know why I never really thought of it before. It doesn't look like it would do much of a difference, but it does, believe it or not, make a big difference. Another just kind of a closed chain pull-up, and by that I mean that traditionally what we're doing in the Total Gym, we're doing these closed chain pull-ups either with the wing dip attachments, or I usually kind of keep handles up here, which is generally kind of closer, and just having this wider grip, believe it or not, makes a big difference. I just kind of threw this extra ankle attachment I had on the middle just to kind of give it some more padding. I got to get some like foam padding because my bar's already getting pretty scratched up from just hitting the other metal. So that's something to kind of think about, but all I really do, nothing too fancy. I just kind of wing myself up like that. And this little wider grip like here, like I said, doesn't seem like much, but after a few reps, it does make a big difference. I mean, I'd say where I actually feel it is like lower part of my lats. Definitely the lower to mid part of my back is where I'm feeling it, but definitely a decent and different enough stress that really warranted to me to kind of add this in this list. This is something very simple that since I got this bar, I for sure am gonna do in the future. Ideally, I kind of wish there was like a middle grip here in this bar, but that's fine. I can probably add something on there later on. Otherwise, works out really good. Got to be a little careful if you're doing that little heaving motion. There's an easier way to kind of get into this too. You can kind of slowly walk yourself into it. Obviously kind of lower the inclines in the way of doing it as well. This next one you guys maybe have done yourselves. I don't know why, I've never thought about it, but if you have ankle attachments, I link these D-Moose ones down below. These are the ones I always go with. They're pretty strong. I always do my hamstring curls lying face down, inverted. Then I just started realizing, you know, a lot of people have told me before, you know, you can do them with the wing dip attachment, especially the longer one that Total Gym makes. And there's ways you can do kind of like a closed chain hamstring curl that's way sitting up. I never really liked that, and I never thought about doing it kind of with an open chain, attaching my ankle attachments directly to the cable. But once I did that with these, I was pleasantly surprised. One, just how easy it is to kind of set up, but then two, I mean, this feels honestly just as good as the other ones do. So now you can get into a couple different positions. I'll show you where I kind of lay backwards, but the point is just kind of sitting in here. I mean, this doesn't seem like much, but this gradually does build up. Very simple, kind of mindless activity. It's hard to even cheat this exercise from sitting like this. Even after doing already, I'm kind of feeling the burn in my hamstrings, but you can kind of lay totally backwards if you guys want. And do it this way, which feels just as comparable, if not, I would say better than the face down inverted one. And you can add some external resistance from resistance bands or external weight plates if you have the weight bar attachment. So Great hamstring exercise. Probably might be my new favorite one other than doing the lying hamstring curls. I think these are actually work out better. And they're easy to get out of, I should say that too. All right, this next move is just so simple, but yet so effective. I had to kind of throw it in the mix. If you have a weight bar attachment, some resistance bands, I know I kind of featured or showed it initially in that video, but it's just such a good exercise. It's one that if you got the bar and band attached, just throwing it on here for legs, really a good, great total body exercise. Some people call it a thruster in the gym with like a barbell, but simply a squat to press. All right, great exercise. You're looking for like a big bang for your buck exercise. This would be up there as far as like a top 5 total body exercise you can do in this machine. All right, then last but not least, I was surprised. I went back and looked at it and I was surprised. I don't believe I ever showed this before, but if you're looking again for another great single joint exercise for your legs, this would be it, especially if you have a total gym with a weight bar attachment, some external weight plates. Again, I'll link those down below. I don't feature enough of those, but there's so many great exercises you can do with the external weight plates, and this would be one of them. I mean, this hip abduction exercise just feels so good, especially on the glutes. So when I initially first started messing around with this, I was just surprised just how smooth and fluid this exercise really felt. And again, there's tons of variations of what you could do. I could do some kind of kickbacks like this, but either way you cut it, doing it this way, great isolated glute exercise if you're looking for something like that. That just honestly feels really good. And I forgot to mention this, with all these exercises we've done today, especially that last one, this swivel mechanism with these extra carabiners have made a big difference, even on just making that last exercise really smooth and fluid of kind of rotating and externally rotating your leg. All right guys, that is it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those exercises. Certainly not the only exercises we did and discovered over this last 30 days, but definitely let me know any other specific exercises you guys want to see covered, and I'll do my best to get those on the next one. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys.